Welcome to the Sarah Finkelstein Show, where the next 10 minutes can change your life. Also on Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. Here's Sarah.
Have you ever used leverage? You may not be aware of it, but you probably have. Have you ever used a coupon to buy groceries? Have you ever used a BOGO, buy one, get one free offer, or a discount? You probably have. And those are all ways of leverage. So let's take a look at the definition of leverage. Here we go. There are several definitions of leverage. But for our discussion today, it has to do with finance. And leverage is using something to your maximum advantage, like using a mortgage. Buying a home through the process of getting a mortgage is using leverage, because if you didn't have the availability of getting a mortgage, you'd probably have to buy a much smaller home and a smaller amount to spend on a home. So mortgage is a type of a way of leveraging your money. How about health insurance? Did you know that when you purchase health insurance, you're leveraging your healthcare costs? Car insurance works the exact same way. You're leveraging your dollars in the event of a catastrophic accident. Same thing with homeowners insurance. How many of you out there have homeowners insurance? Would you dream of going without it? Would you dream of going without auto insurance? And what about life insurance? When you purchase life insurance, the premium that you pay for that face amount of coverage is leveraging your dollars. Next slide, please. So what are the chances of having a car accident or something happen to your home for which you have homeowners insurance or long-term care? So let's take a look at those statistics. The probability of having a car accident is 1 out of 240. The probability of having a fire in one's home is 1 out of 1,200. And the probability of needing long-term care is 2 out of 3. Let me repeat that. 2 out of 3 people over the age of 65 will need long-term care. Most people wouldn't dream of going without car insurance. Most people wouldn't dream of going without homeowners insurance. Yet, so many Americans do not have long-term care protection that they need. People that have had an experience with long-term care, like myself, I had to deal with it with my mom, moved her down from New York to Florida. That's typically when the light bulb goes off and we realize, hey, it happened to mom, it happened to dad, it could one day happen to us. And the financial exposure when that happens can be tremendous. So next slide, please. Let's talk about, can you afford to self-insure? If something were to happen in your home, a fire, a hurricane, whatever it may be, can you afford to go without the insurance and pay for that occurrence on your own by taking that money out of your savings or your portfolios? Can you afford to self-insure If God forbid you got into a car accident, a serious car accident, that could run into potentially many thousands of dollars, and in some instances, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Can you afford to do that? Can you afford to go without long term care? Because you know what? Everybody at one point or another is affected by long term care, whether it's you yourself needing it, whether it's your loved one needing it, whether it's a parent needing it, or whether it's you end up providing the care that your loved ones needs. So I think of it as not just 2 out of 3 people, but pretty much everybody in one way or another will be impacted by the need for long-term care. Will you be able to provide the care that your loved ones needs? Or will you be able to provide the financial assistance that you or your loved one will need without drastically altering your lifestyle and your retirement plans? You know, I've had clients that could afford to so-called self-insure. They were multi-millionaires. Yet they were very clever because they realized that they would rather pass the risk on to an insurance company because not only was it cheaper, but they were protecting their assets and it brought them peace of mind. So sometimes people are kind of thrifty, and because they are thrifty, they like to pass the risk along to an insurance company or maybe just a portion of that risk. So that is people that certainly can afford to pay 100% of the cost out of their own pocket and choose not to because they are leveraging their dollars. It's about leveraging the power of your money to work for you, as opposed to spending 60, 70, 80, $100,000 a year out of your own pocket to pay for the care that you or your loved one or another family relative would need. Next slide, please. I guess we're at the last slide. No. Okay. So what is the cost of self-insuring? And there is a cost. Life insurance. You could buy $100,000 of coverage, $500,000, a million or more. It's up to your particular situation. But insurance is always based on a few pennies doing the work of many dollars. Whatever your premium is for your life insurance, I am sure that the benefit is much, much greater than the premium that you are paying for it. Again, it's about leverage. What about home insurance? As we talked about, something that might happen to your home. If you have the homeowner's insurance, that will cover the claim regardless of the size of that claim. And of course, auto insurance. Again, pennies on the dollar. But let's not forget about healthcare costs, because as we get older, healthcare costs go up too. So you have to have a good health insurance program to protect your financial exposure, like if you're 65 or older and you have Medicare, or if you're under the age of 65, you have major medical insurance. And that is very, very important because nobody knows what tomorrow may bring and what that financial exposure will be. And a lot of bankruptcies are due to healthcare costs. And lastly, Social Security. We know that when we're working with couples, when one of those individuals passes away, the survivor gets the bigger of the two checks. So at the same time, they lose the smaller check. And even if that smaller check is, say, $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year, less money coming into the household to maintain the expenses and the lifestyle. So can you afford to self-insure that risk? That is the question that you should be pondering. And are you using the power of leverage to your benefit? Question of the day.
Knowledge is power, but only when you implement what you've learned to your own benefit. Tune in next time for even more powerful tips on the Sarah Finkelstein Show.